All right, everybody, this is Juan Guerrero from Moix RV, and for some of those who do remember, this is Mobile Juan from a long time ago. All right, we're going to cover winterization on this 22 RBE, as well as cover multiple campers that y'all will have at the camp out, okay? So some of the process we're going to do to prep the camper to winterize is we have a blowout plug to blow out the system as much water as you can, drain all the fresh water tanks, and we'll cover that also, a pull valve to drain the system out, as well as the grays and the black tank to the camper. Now, the stuff that I have right here are winterization kits. So some of the campers are prepped for winterization, so you will not possibly need any of this stuff right here, but these are for the ones that are for the manual sides of the systems. So this right here is a pump conversion kit. So what that means is you put this in line from the pump, and you can put your water line into the jug, and it pumps the antifreeze into the system all by itself. Now also, on the water heater for itself right here, we will have a bypass kit, so you have to remove the hot side and the cold side, put this in line, and it'll pump the antifreeze through the whole system so you can safely pump it into the whole camper. Now, you will also, some of the campers will have to have a siphon hose you can plug up outside, and it'll siphon the antifreeze into the system externally. Now, I've got my socket right here because you'll have to drain the water here also. So I have a 1 1/8, 1 16, and 15/16. Now these are the plugs that are inside the water heater bottom corner that you'll have to remove to drain the water heater and bypass the water heater also on the system. Now, everybody has different kinds of campers. We do have new water heaters on the market. Those are those on-demand systems as well. And so we'll cover some of those as well during this orientation. So we're going to start off with winterization jugs. We need about 2 antifreeze or RV antifreeze jugs so you can properly winterize your camper. All right, everybody, we're over here on the Nautilus side, your main water distribution panel that comes into the camper. So on the Nautilus system, it has the valves up here on the top, the green and the blue, and it does tell you where to winterize the system. So the valve down here, it's got the take the picture of what you want the valves to do. So winterize, right and left, and then you have a hot water heater bypass up here on the top, so it goes from normal operation to bypass mode. Now we have an extension hose that we have just cut off. Any busted hose, whatever you have, cut off the end, and then it's going to go directly into the jug. And so all you do is make the hole, pop it inside. With all the valves interior turned on or turned off, you're going to turn the pump system on here. So you have a pump switch in here, also one inside the camper as well. So we're just going to turn the pump on. We've already set pressure on the system, so it's going to stop here. And now we go inside and start opening up the faucets to the camper. Now that we have the hose in the jug, we'll go through each faucet and turn on. You'll hear the pump, and we're going to clear out until we get pink antifreeze in all the faucets. We'll go to each one in the kitchen, bathroom, the toilet, the shower. We'll recycle till we get pink antifreeze. Now we do have one jug sitting outside, so we've got to monitor inside and outside where the level of the jug is. Here comes the pink, hot, cold side. Now we're coming to pink right now. Shut this one off, and now we'll go into the bathroom. Now that we've done with the kitchen faucet, we'll go into the bathroom. Hot side, cold side. And we'll go to the shower. Same thing, getting good enough pink through the lines. It'll push out all of that water. We'll lay this down here for cleanup. And then we'll go to the toilet, push down a little bit to allow water into the bowl to get into that water valve. And then we'll full flush. On this camper, you have a Truma combi system. So on this system, you've got a shut-off valve on the top. It's an on and off, so the camper has to, or the heating system has to be turned off, cooled down to proper temperature so you can winterize the system. So this goes into the off position. You come down here, and this is what they call the normal pop-off valve. This is engaged right here, so while you're winterizing the system, this comes up to release any pressure and allow any water left in the system to go through. So as we're inside winterizing the camper, going through the faucet, so you'll have to drain one jug, you have to come back out and swap the hose to the next jug. So in that process, while it's going through, you put your outside shower on, turn it on as well. You get you some, till you get pink antifreeze out of the system as well. Hot side, cold side. And the last thing is you've got low point drains in your camper. So low points turn on so you can get pink antifreeze out of those as well. You'll have a little bit of antifreeze left over. You can take it inside, pour it down the sinks if need be, excess to go into the tank. So that'll keep the valves still from not freezing during the winter time. All right, everybody, so here is the water heater on the back side of the camper. So this one has the plug directly below, and so most of the rods will be right down here. So you've got a drain plug down here. Some will have an anode rod also. Now remember, let this water heater cool down properly like it needs to do before you drain the plug. And also pull the pop-off valve so if there's any pressure in the system, it'll release before you remove the plug. Now again, they will be all here on the corner, so you've got your drain plug here and anode rod, as well as more little smaller plugs for the 1/16 also inch sockets on here also. On this camper, you've got your drain valves down below here on the bottom. So these are your low point drains. They'll have multiple turn valves on these, and some will have a 1/2 inch plug that you'll have to remove also when you drain the camper out. And all it is turning the camper, open the valves, drain the water out, and also we'll come back out later on and put pink antifreeze down to these valves also. Turn them back off and plug them back in. Now we're going to drain the fresh water tank. Now multiple campers will have a shutoff valve like this one, or they might actually have a simple little 1/2 inch plug also to drain the fresh water tank. So in relation to where the fresh water is, usually it's right by the fresh water inlet that you bring in. It's on this side of the camper. So all you do is open the valve, drain the system out, and leave it open so we can air out during the winter time. So for draining the camper, you'll go to your dump valves out here on the outside. You will have to have your dump hose hooked up to the dump site, as well as your gray and your black tanks closed off. So of course, first the black tank, and then the gray tank to flush the camper out. All right, everybody, now we're inside the camper and we're going to start the winterization process in here. So some of the campers will have this panel inside, so it'll be just an instruction on how to winterize. Now, we still got to bypass the water pump as well as the water heater. Now, the water heater, of course, if I remember, it's outside in the back corner. So in relation to where your camper is, the inside bypass should be right inside. Now, this one shows you the process on how to do it, how to turn the valves in line as well as in bypass mode. Now, we've got the jugs ready to go in the system right now. That goes into the hose, and there's a valve on this pump. This one is already a pre-prep system. Turn the valve the other way, turn the pump on, and it'll siphon it all in, and it'll pressurize. Now you know you're ready to winterize the camper. Now on the water heater, like I said, is outside, so in relation to the camper, it's right inside. Usually they'll be in the compartment, out of the way, hidden, or a false panel you have to remove. This one has a drawer that we've got to remove. Now, it's really hard to see in here, but your water heater valves are just like this. There's one on the hot line, one on the cold line, and one on center to open the valve. So to winterize the camper, we've got to turn the valves the opposite way from where they're at in operation mode. So if you notice this, valve shuts off here on the cold, shuts off on the hot line, and we open the center line to winterize the camper. And so it's right here out of the way. It's really hard to see, but some access panels, you'll have access, the water heater will be turned, and it's a 3-way shutoff valve on this water heater. Now that we have the water heater bypassed, the pump bypass, now it's time to turn the pump on. Pump comes on, it'll pull down just a little bit, and now we'll go ahead and start with the faucet. So we'll start with the closest one, kitchen. Open the valves so we get pink antifreeze both sides. And then we'll shut off, and now we'll go to the next faucet. Now we're in the shower, so same thing with hot and cold side. Turn the faucets on till you get good pink antifreeze to the system. Cold, hot. Get the air out, shut the pump off. Now at this point in time, you might want to go to the jug inside and swap the jug out. You might have drained some fluid out. Now we're on the toilet, so you have a foot flush. Some might have a hand flush on it. So push it down just a little bit to allow the pink antifreeze into the system. Fill it up a little bit, you hear the air, and then full flush. Now that we have the inside of the camper winterized, now we can start the outside faucet. So we have an outside shower and outside port over here, as well as we're going to do the low point drain. So we're up here on the front. Cold side, make sure we get good pink antifreeze. Hot side, same thing for this one. On this camper has an external port over here on the opposite side of the camper where we're at the outside shower. So hook your hose up into it. Make sure again you got a good pink antifreeze coming out of the system. And also on this side of the camper, we have your low point drains. We'll open each one up so we get good antifreeze out of this one too. Right there on the cold side, right here on the hot side. Now again, while you're out here doing winterization, somebody might have to be inside swapping the jugs out, so you go from water hose to water hose, so there's no cavitation in the system. All right, y'all, that concludes the winterization of this 22 RBE. Now again, there are multiple campers out there that you probably need help with, so please do not hesitate to give us a call. Now, for all you Camp Moix people, we do have technicians there. They're available if you've got any questions for anything that I covered. Every camper is going to be specific. Usually the grand designs will be online, the hideouts will be just along line, the cedar groups will be just online, pretty similar to the systems. But again, please, y'all have a great time at Camp Moix, and we do appreciate everything, and y'all, thank you for being customers.